Here we are, my friends. It took a moment of fiddling back and forth. I think it was not really my fault, but who cares? This video will be in English, and I will post it afterwards um, on my timeline and on my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining, Ron and Norit and Matthijs. I will, as usual, speak in English because, hello Ruben, because of the plethora of various nationalities and places that people are joining this conversation. In my last talk with you, or the one prior to that, we had a very, very, very interesting topic. And it was about driving a car or flying in an airplane, for that matter, whether you are the pilot or a passenger, it doesn't matter really. The idea that you are moving forward, whereas the landscape stands still, I told you, is the opposite of what is really happening. We tell ourselves that the world, either the air in which we fly or the road on which we travel, stands still, and that we move by either, steering the steering wheel or and pressing the metal, the pedal to the metal, something like that. That we move and that the world stands still. It's the opposite of what really happens. When you think about it for just a moment, you understand that you don't change. You don't move. You actually sit still. Most of you sits still. Your hands may be moving a little bit. Your foot may be moving a little bit. But your body, the rest of your body sits still. Your body doesn't move at 60 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. Or your body doesn't fly at 1,000 miles an hour, as in an airplane, or 1,000 kilometers, whatever it is. Your body sits still. Most of you sits still. It's the road and the landscape which moves at a certain speed, but you sit still. We don't move. At the beginning of the voyage, I am Michael, and at the end of the journey, whether it has taken an hour or it has taken 10 years, I am still Michael. I haven't changed into another personality or whatever. I'm the same. So really, I haven't moved. The images and the events have changed, but I have remained who I am. So what really happens? Well, a story happens, just like when you watch a movie on television or on the little screen of your iPad or in the cinema. You sit still. The scenes of the movie pass. You don't move. And in the same way, you cannot prove that it is any different. We are in the city where we are, in the morning, and if we don't leave the city, at the end of the day, we're still in the same city, in the same location, maybe even in the same building or in the same apartment as we started out. But the hours have moved. We haven't. Like when you get up in the morning at 7 a.m. and you do all kind of things, and by the end of the day at 9 or 10 p.m. you go to bed. The hours have moved, have passed, but you haven't passed. You're still there. So we have a very strange way of thinking. We say, I moved from this location to the other location. Or we say, I enjoyed this day or this holiday, which I went through. I went through from the beginning of the day until the end of the day. But these ideas of beginning and end are abstract notions. They are concepts. We didn't move from one abstract notion, beginning, to another abstract notion called end. We didn't move at all. And what happened between the beginning of the day and the end of the day is a story. And we tell that story. We say, I was here, and then I moved over there, or I traveled over there. But it's a story which we tell. Now, the interesting thing is that when we deny that, let me start on the other end, let me start in the positive. When we confirm that, we say, well, I was there, and then I arrived there. Then whatever happened in between is part of our story. It's sandwiched between the beginning, which I initiated, and the end, which I arrived at. So apparently everything that happened in between belonged to me. It was my story. It was something that I am the author of. It's my story. Even if I met other people, or if there were things that I experienced, I had unexpected experiences. Since I started the story and I ended the story, then apparently everything that happened in between is part of my story. And there is almost zero frustration there when I confirm that. Because, well, I am the director of that movie. But when in the negative, I do not confirm that, or I deny that I made the first step. I got up in the morning and I went to bed in the evening. But when I say, well, when we don't confirm that, or when we deny that, and we say, oh, I had these and these things happened to me. I didn't have a good day, or I had a bad day, as if the I who had that day doesn't play any role of importance. When you deny that you started out the day and that you ended the day, and that everything that happened in between belonged to your story that you tell, when you deny that, you will be very frustrated. And perhaps in the next day, you will try to do better, or you'll be anxious that the same thing doesn't happen again, that you will not be a victim of these things which seem to be out of your control. And the less you confirm that it is you who got up in the morning and that you did the things that you did, and that you went to bed in the evening, the more you deny that, the more you deny that it is your story, the more frustrated and depressed you will be. So what I do myself, and what I suggest my friends do as well, is to regularly confirm, this is my story. These are my experiences. These are my feelings. And that's not a little thing. That's not a small thing. The content of your day, the content of your experiences cannot be more important than you who initiates them, who dreams them up, who tells this story to himself and to other people. Today I will do this and that, and I will achieve this and that. The person who says that is more important than anything outside of him or of you. The landscape that I'm driving through in my car, or in the airplane, or in my life, the events that I'm going through are less important than me, who is sitting at the steering wheel, because I decide where I go. So the things that happen on the road are the outcome of my determining, my choices, if you want, my imagination. Wow, I want to do this. Let's try this out. Oh, I want to achieve that. I'll try and achieve that. But the I who makes that choice is able to correct his direction at any moment. And it's not a very wise decision to determine that you are the victim of your story. I mean, obviously you can say that, but it's not very nice to be the victim. It's a frustrating experience, because then the other people determine for you. So yeah, of course you can be robbed, you can lose some money, or lose friends, or feel sad. These things can happen, obviously. But the moment when you confirm, and the best thing is to do it out loud, this is my experience, these are my feelings. When you do that, you no longer are stuck in the question, am I a victim or am I not a victim? Or another question that I have, and I assume other people have that also, am I a good person? The moment that you confirm all these thoughts are mine, then the question whether these thoughts are good or bad, whether they make you a good person or not a good person, are no longer of importance, because you have confirmed, you have acknowledged that they are yours. Um, and this is true. The thoughts are your thoughts. So you have the benefit when you say, these thoughts that I'm having now, these thoughts are mine. You have two benefits. One is you stop the question, are these good thoughts or bad thoughts? Should I have these thoughts? Does this mean that I'm a bad person if I have these thoughts? You stop that because you simply declare, confirm, acknowledge, these are my thoughts. And the second thing is, and this is maybe even more important, by saying this, by declaring this, by confirming out loud, these are my thoughts to myself, I have an experience of saying the truth. Wow. I'm an important person because I'm reliable. I can speak the truth. Wow. At least one person who is reliable, at least one person I can trust in my life to speak the truth. Wow, there is hope. So by simply confirming, even though you may have the idea, whoa, I move through the world, whereas your body sits still and only the landscape moves. Even if you have that crazy thought, by confirming, these thoughts are mine, then I can drive this car, think that I am moving and that the landscape is standing still, which is the reverse of the truth. But when I confirm that I tell this story, and these are my thoughts, there's no problem about it. And the answer to the question, what is the truth, then becomes me. I am the truth, the life and the light. Because I sit here and I determine where things go. All these thoughts, all these experiences are mine, not some little green men from Mars who are thinking my thoughts or who are feeling my feelings. That's me. They're mine. I'm a happy person because I generate thoughts. I generate the thought, oh, I'm driving very fast from A to B. What a wonderful thought. I mean, it's a dream. I'm not moving anywhere. It's just all these places that are passing me, and all these days and weeks and years are passing me by, whereas I remain the same. But by simply confirming that this is my story, I'm a happy man. By simply acknowledging that my thoughts are mine, I do not get into the spiral of a person who is frustrated, or and who in the end gets depressed because he has no control over his life. He is met with frustrations every day, all kind of things that he feels the victim of. And in the end, um, not in the end, pretty soon, you'll be like most people, dissatisfied, uh, or dependent on all kind of narrow conditions, narrow, limited situations which you're happy with. You're not happy with this, you're not happy with that, you had an experience with that that you didn't like, therefore you will not go there any longer. You had an experience with these kind of persons and you didn't like them, so you won't meet those kind of people. And very soon you'll have a very narrow um, very narrow options available to you. Now, if that happens, and obviously it happens to many of us, that we sometimes feel sad or frustrated or even a bit depressed about the situation in the world, etc., etc., we can, on the spot, stop that by saying, these feelings are mine. By doing so, you stopped the idea, the whirlpool of thinking, oh, if I have this experience, this means I'm a bad person. You stop that. And the other thing is, and again, I'll say it again because I think it is more important than anything, you have spoken the truth. It didn't cost you anything. You've spoken the truth and saying, this is my experience, this is my feeling, these are my thoughts. You have hoisted up, you have lifted up your spirit, you have um, increased your self-worth, your self-esteem, your appreciation and love for yourself, simply by saying the truth, which is, these are my feelings, these are my experiences, these are my ideas, and then maybe 5 minutes later, maybe a day later, again, you encounter a situation which seems confusing, or whatever. And again, you can stop the spiral of thoughts. Oh, I can't do this because it means I'm a bad person, by simply saying, these are my experiences. Meaning, this is my story. I am the storyteller. And when you are the storyteller, you can at any point create a new scene in your story, invent a new event in your life. And when it turns out the way you wanted it, then that is your result. And when it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it, but it turns out in a different way, that is still your result. So you go from one victory, namely, hey, I achieve results, to another without hurting yourself or other people, by simply confirming, this is my story. I am the storyteller. You prevent yourself from going crazy or simply being unhappy for longer than a moment or two. It's fine to feel unhappy from time to time, but for longer than 5 minutes or an hour, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you be like the little child you were, the very little child you were once, who could go from crying to smiling in a second, who wouldn't linger in unhappiness or in distress. Now, when we were very little, our parents told us the stories and said, yeah, now we're going to the dentist. But after the dentist, I will buy you an ice cream, or we will go to the zoo, or whatever. You had parents who did that with you. And that was very nice. But now you are the storyteller. And you're doing a wonderful job. Every day you have these, all these stories. But when you forget that you are the storyteller, then you may get into this lingering sense of discontent and frustration with yourself or with other people. And that's a story too. If you're interested to investigate, how can I make myself or keep myself unhappy? That's an interesting story. You may one day sell it or turn it into a movie. But why wait? Why do that? By simply confirming, this is my story. I am the storyteller. Or any words to that effect. By simply saying that out loud, by confirming it, you prevent yourself from lying to yourself. Lying to yourself like, they do it to me. I am the victim. Which can't be true. It cannot be true. If you are the storyteller, then you cannot be a victim. So why lie to yourself and then ultimately lie to other people? It's not good for you. It's not good for anybody, and it leaves a bad taste. You make a bad impression on yourself. If you lie to yourself, why would you go through your day or through your life as somebody who is untruthful or disloyal to himself or to herself? That sounds like a good thing to discuss in the dark days of winter that we have here in the Northern Hemisphere, to understand that, or to confirm that indeed um, this is our story. It's sometimes it looks like a very strange story, and that's fine. It's still our story, and we can move from strange scenes to common scenes to familiar places to unfamiliar places to moments of certainty and to events of fear and through times of uh, inspiration to periods of despair. You can go through these events. And by simply saying, this is my story, these are my experiences, we confirm that in reality it's the other way around. It's not that we go through good times and bad times, that they go through us. We remain stable, and all these various moments and events pass by us. They are temporary, but we remain. That is a good message I have for you today. I will finish this video and I'll post it. I wish you happy holidays. See you next time.